Hello everybody, let's talk about Signalgate. It is hard to find the right words for this story. All this chaos will inevitably affect our troops and our defense as a whole, regardless of how we feel about the current state of the United States administration. American aid is invaluable and cannot be adequately replaced in the short term. It is better to have it than not. It is crucial for us to preserve every possible partnership with the United States where it strengthens us. That means we'll have to restrain our emotions and carefully consider the spectrum of the consequences we'll have to face. 2 days ago, there was still a chance to contain the crisis, to frame it as a minor incident, a mistake that did not lead to negative consequences, a quick but measured response, a slap on the wrist for those responsible, some apologies, and that would have been the end of it. That didn't happen. Now the situation feels like the stages of volcanic eruption. The ash cloud has already risen, and soon the lava will start flowing. The full scale of the disaster is still unclear, but one thing is certain: it is unprecedented. We are only 2/3 of the way through the first 100 days of the new United States administration, yet the entire security and defense leadership has already been totally discredited, and not just in one way, but across multiple dimensions. So, key consequences. First, Vice President was the President. It has become clear that the Vice President is not fully loyal to the President and may act behind his back. Differences of opinion and internal debates are normal, but when the President in a circle begins and ends every public appearance with over-the-top praise for Trump, it creates a stark contrast with reality. Now everyone sees it: partners, adversaries, and the public alike. On a more conspiratorial level, this reinforces the idea that Trump, despite being the formal leader of his own administration, is an outsider within his own team, an expendable battering ram clearing the way for the new political wave, new political generation. This fuels speculation about the impending internal split, which in turn undermines confidence in long-term commitments and encourages adversaries to bide their time until the dust settles. China, Russia, and others can continue pursuing their agendas unchallenged, while allies may be forced to act independently of the United States. Second, Europe's reaction, frustration, and schadenfreude. Europe has long known how Washington views them, regardless of who is in charge. The infamous "fuck the EU" remark didn't come from Trumpist, but from Victoria Nuland, a Democrat. While America's low opinion of Europe's crisis handling abilities may be justified, hearing it out loud stings. As a result, European leaders, especially former officials, are taking their revenge, at least rhetorically. Current politicians must gloat in silence, but ex-officials are much less restrained, particularly the Brits. A prime example is a blistering op-ed in the Telegraph by former United Kingdom Defense Secretary Ben Wallace. While he acknowledges some ideological common ground, such as the opposition to woke policies, he describes America's leadership as being in the hands of reckless yokels. They think bullying is leadership, allies are clients, and trade is war. This might sound great in Midwestern diners, but in the minds of our enemies, it's an opportunity. The criticism of Washington follows the classic Soviet-style satirical playbook. They are just dumb. This sidesteps all rational arguments and ideological differences, reducing everything to incompetence. Wallace's key point that these chairs creates opportunities for enemies is spot on. For some European elites and their chosen leaders, the temptation to negotiate with Russia will grow as this epic transatlantic circus unfolds. Putin doesn't even need to lift a finger. And rebuilding trust will require enormous effort. Inside the United States, third consequence, inside the United States, a media firestorm. Yesterday saw an epic media battle, and today it's entering a new round. Republican and Trump-aligned networks deployed their talking heads, pushing a range of narratives. First, this is just trivial mistake. People make errors. We had all a laugh, and now we move on. Second, Goldberg is a very bad person. Just look at him. He must have set this up himself. And third, the world finally respects and even fears the United States again. The strike on the Houthis was a huge success. More bold moves are coming, and we can't let our enemies derail us. Meanwhile, critical media outlets pulled no punches. Late-night hosts like Jon Stewart, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert mercilessly mocked the situation, especially the bizarre addition of a journalist to the chat. Their segments racked up millions of views on YouTube. The most insightful show in terms of actual content was Kimmel's. He compiled a brutal highlight reel of past statements from Waltz, Hegseth, and Rubio when they attacked Clinton over similar issues. There was nothing to add. It spoke for itself. For example, Hegseth, as a commentator at one of the networks, once said, "Anyone else in Clinton's position would already be in jail." Kimmel also meticulously broke down the arguments coming from Trump's defenders and completely dismantled them. He summed it up bluntly. "We already knew a coalition of idiots has seized power, but this dumb and dumber contest is next level." Colbert, in his usual over-the-top style, doubled down on the theme of idiocy, even explicitly stating what Kimmel left hanging. They should be fired, and someone needs to go to jail. First consequence, it is the biggest target seems to be the Secretary of Defense. For now, it seems that the main scapegoat will be the Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is currently on a tour on the Indo-Pacific region to strengthen alliances under Trump's peace through strength doctrine. He is scheduled to visit Japan and the Philippines. Speaking in Hawaii, Hegseth emphasized the fight against communist China and made it clear that the United States will honor its commitments but will no longer act unilaterally. Allies must do their part. Essentially, his job is to inspire partners and get them to pay more. But now he finds himself in a deep crisis. His first media response was an aggressive attack on the journalist personally, denying that any sensitive information was leaked. His second attempt of damage control completely dodged the issue, shifting the focus to the success of the Yemen operation without addressing the core scandal. After the Atlantic published a second article, including Hegseth's own messages, his room for maneuver has almost disappeared, meaning that they published the information that should be sensitive, the plan of the operation. Trump fury and his dilemma. Trump is almost certainly furious. This is a completely unnecessary scandal at the worst possible time, and he is the one who has to fix it. And if he does nothing, his opponents could escalate the criticism directly against him for appointing these people. He has two main options: delay the issue, suspend those involved pending an investigation, and drag the things out. The downside, this would slow down his momentum for 1 to 2 months, a critical time for both Ukraine policy and other major issues, Middle East, Iran, trade wars, etc. Or second option is fire someone to shift the blame. The top candidate is Hexet. The problem, while not exactly a genius, he is a loyal foot soldier, pushing Trump's agenda aggressively, securing the southern border, dismantling Biden-era policies, and even personally answering Musk's emails. He embodies the loyal servant to the king, father to the troops image. He starts his day with physical training alongside military units and keeps the defense industry well funded. Trump is now faced a tough call: sacrifice one of his most visible loyalists or let the scandal spiral out of control. Firing Hexet would be deeply unfair, as his downfall is essentially the result of an unintentional setup by Walz. If Hexet does get dismissed, it will likely be due to his ambiguous response to Devance's remark, one that could be interpreted as disloyalty to Trump. However, if anyone gets fired, the position will demand more. It will turn into an endless cycle of pressure and scandal, and that too would be a waste of time at the worst possible moment. But there is option 3, dig in and go on the offensive. A third option is to dig in, to go on the offensive and adopt a strategy of small, victorious war wherever possible. The need for this approach is already overdue. For Russia, this situation presents both huge risks and potential opportunities. If the United States becomes bogged down in domestic drama, while Europe remains hesitant, Russia gains a strategic advantage. United States, caught in a weak public position, will be unwilling to negotiate on key issues. This disrupts the entire political schedule for the spring, except for Putin's. However, the United States still could retaliate against Russia without diplomatic negotiations, using tougher measures to rally their base. The message: yes, they are idiots, they screwed up, but they are our idiots and they are still functional. There is also the option of resetting everything and bringing the competent figures, but assessing the realism of that is difficult. From the beginning, it was speculated that Hexet, Gabbard, and Kennedy were never meant to be confirmed. Trump put them forward as part of his promises, expecting Senate to block them, but Senate didn't. It is hard to imagine a more dramatic scandal that simultaneously engulfs every key figure of the security bloc. This creates fertile ground for conspiracy theories about foreign interference. Perhaps this narrative will be played up as well. Walz already set the stage for Musk to push it in that direction. From the perspective of the neutral observers, say from Switzerland, this is all wildly amusing and fascinating. But for us, Ukrainians, the priority remains clear: maintaining support for the front lines, for the troops, and who knows, maybe cards will present themselves from all this mess, or maybe from other unexpected places. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and till next time. Slava Ukraini!